funded event through the UK's government Levelling Up Fund, which has enabled, as I say, this programme of work to take place, plus a whole host of other things, including business grants. So I'll hand across now to Louise and Jess, who'll say I'll take you through a presentation, giving us their valuable insight, introduce themselves, and then we'll come back to an informal Q&A at the end. So over to you.
Lovely, thank you. Just going to share my screen. Here we go. How's that for everybody? Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. We can see it. Amazing. Lou, did you want me to kickstart and then I'll hand over to you?
Yes, go for it. Can you see everything? Can you see a full screen, or can you see the slide?
It's come back off presenter mode into your desktop for the minute.
There we go.
There you are.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are good. This is always the hardest bit of doing presentations, is actually trying to get the screen to work. So we've come across hurdle number 1, which is brilliant. So thank you. Lovely to be here today. Thank you so much for inviting us, and thank you to the people that have taken time out of their very busy schedules to be here. And I love the phrase knowledge is power. I think that we may use that. That's such a marketing phrase and we're totally going to steal it. So thank you so much to whoever said that. We'll credit you later. So today we're going to be talking around innovations for 2023 and beyond. And really it's about us kind of taking a step back, because in marketing we're always day to day really busy, we're wearing 100 different hats, and sometimes we forget to take a step back and think about what we're actually doing. Are we using the right channels? Is there new things that are coming out? And quite often people could be a little bit scared about using new channels and how they can use them, and also think that maybe their marketing budget just isn't big enough. So we're here to give you some insights, some expertise, some ideas of things that you can do no matter what your marketing budget is. To do introductions, so my name is Jess. I'm director and co-founder of the Cusp. I'm very much a media person. I'm a little bit data, a little bit analytics, a little bit geeky. So I kind of bring that side of activity to the fold. And then Louise, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm Louise. I'm the other half of the Cusp, and my skill sets lie in more marketing strategy, making sure that the right message is compelling enough and reaches the right audiences. So together, Jess and I tag team. So Jess is very numbers and the metrics around that, and I'm more the creative and the front end of that.
Absolutely. You always need 2 people, one that knows the numbers and one that knows the creative side. So today's session is very much about you guys and making sure that we're upskilling and giving you all of the insights, all of the ideas, and sharing suggestions with you. So today you're going to get insights into what the marketing landscape looks like today. You're going to get innovation, so a rundown of the latest innovations that we're using as part of our marketing strategies with clients, and things that we're seeing really working, but also how to use those channels in a way that's going to be right for you. And then a really practical roadmap. So today is very much practical, so you can hopefully come away thinking what innovations you can plug into your marketing right away, whether that's for this year, or obviously I know everyone is planning now for 2024. So really practical tips, innovation ideas, and really just kind of getting you excited about innovation again, getting you excited about what innovation and channels you can be using as part of your strategy. Perfect. So Lou, I'll let you introduce us before we go into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, so just a couple of slides about us. So we are the Cusp, and we pride ourselves on being attention makers. So as Jess and a couple of other people in the room suggested as well, you know, marketing is about that knowledge sharing and really understanding what's been done before, what the conversion and what the success of that campaign looks like. So we've worked with lots of different brands over the decades of experience that we have between Jess and I, whether it's destination campaigns, whether it's education, tourism, recruitment campaigns. And it is all about, it always comes back to, well, what is the main objective? What are we trying to achieve? Are we trying to achieve selling tickets? Are we trying to get more visitors to buy into a certain product? More people to apply for a role? It could be absolutely anything, but it's really clear from us, from the clients that we've worked with over the years, is that it's always good to start at the end of that campaign. So we are proud to be female founded for an agency that is actually quite rare in the UK. Less than 1% of agencies are founded by women, where we like to pride ourselves on innovation. So it's not just about the campaign itself, it's bringing different ideas and different performance and innovation channels to a campaign strategy and thinking about doing things differently as well. We've got sustainable foundations, so we are very tight on what we like to think of our ethics and practices across our campaigning operations when we're dealing with our clients. And we're proudly Welsh, and we're based half in Swansea, half in Cardiff. I'm in Swansea myself, and Jess lives in Cardiff. So we get to see one of the cities most once every week in different locations. One of the things that we do for our own marketing is we have a series called Marketing Heroes Wales. It's streamed live on LinkedIn every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. So we had one this morning. We then have it updated onto Spotify for those people who want to catch up. But what we have tried to do with this piece of content, Marketing Heroes Wales, is about celebrating all things great, whether that's an organisation that's been born out of Wales, or it could be an individual that is head of a marketing function within another corporate company. So far this month we've had AU Vodka, which I know everyone will know that's in Swansea, Dr. Organics in Llansamlet, the Royal Mint. So these are key figurehead marketing experts that share their knowledge in conversation with Jess and I through Marketing Heroes Wales. And coming up in the next couple of weeks, we've got social media manager Ash Phillips from Tiny Rebel. We've got Heather Ferguson from Age talking about the age of representation in media. We've got Metrobank, we've got University of Wales talking about education. And it really is a platform that is, every week we have different subscribers, because it's never going to appeal one session to everybody. All of them aren't going to appeal to everybody, but there really is, we pride ourselves on this diverse platform that we've made. So if you are ever on LinkedIn 9:30 on a Thursday, do sign up and come on in, because the conversations are always really interesting if you have that interest around marketing.
Yeah, I would also say, sorry Lou, is if anyone's interested in being a guest speaker as well, then please do get in touch with myself and Lou. We're very keen to make sure that we showcase everything that is happening in marketing in Wales. So whether it's a big organisation you work for or a small organisation that you work for, but you've got a great story to tell, then do get in touch with us. Yeah, we'd love to connect and see if we can get a slot for you.
Absolutely. So our services, we are strategy and solutions focused. So that could be looking at marketing audits, roadmaps, audience optimization, technical support, or webinar services. So we have some of our clients who, before they implement a marketing campaign, they need to kind of recognize what's been happening, sometimes on their social media platforms, sometimes on their paid advertising. So we will run through an audit and conduct a report and really understand where the starting point is. We do, of course, many people on this call will understand the difference between paid and organic media. So making sure that you get that right attraction from the audiences that you very much will be interested in your product or service, whether that could be digital or whether it could be out of home media, radio, organic. And it kind of goes back to that point that Jess made at the start, which is about the budget, and knowing what the budget is not always the right way to go around the start of a campaign. It's really trying to understand what you actually want to achieve and then working backwards from that point, and making sure that you're getting complete value for money from the platforms and the media that you're putting out there. So we all will recognize that if we were to put an advert on, say, the radio, on a billboard, and these elements cost money, and you will always want to see that return of investment. But it is really important that we justify what platform and we understand what the results are going to be before we make that big decision to invest in a particular piece of content, paid or organic. And then creative and content. So strong branding, strong design, making sure that campaigns are compelling, the messaging is hitting the right notes to the right people, the right language, tone of voice is being used, social content, all of that comes into play when we talk about creative and content. So Jess is going to talk about 5 innovations that we would like you to go away today and start to consider for your marketing mix. So over to you, Jess.
Amazing, thanks Lou. And I will, I'll put it out there now. There's 5 innovations, but we've added 2 extra as well. I was going through this morning, I was like, oh, there's 2 more that I really want to add in. So we're now at 7 innovations to add to your marketing mix, but you'll see that there's a couple of different ideas, some that you're already using, but actually different ways of using those channels. So let us get cracking with the first one. So some of these channels, it's very varied when we speak to the marketing managers that we work with. Some know them really well. Some are like, I've never heard about this before, and why have I not heard about it before? One of those that really splits audiences is eClosure. Okay, so eClosure, if you've not heard about it before, eClosure is a sustainable search engine. So it is just like Google, just like Bing. In fact, it's actually run by the Bing network. But the one big difference is that rather than when you pay for any advertising, rather than that money going to, say, a big boss in Google's pockets or a big boss in Google's budget, instead, all of your advertising money goes towards planting trees. We have seen over the past few years, so eClosure has been around for actually a really long time. I think it's been around for over 10 years now. But we have seen in the last few years, especially since COVID, I think we've probably become more of a conscious consumer. We're all a little bit more aware of how we're using media, what our own carbon footprints are, and how we can take easy steps to reduce them. We've seen a massive increase in the number of audiences using eClosure, and therefore that makes it a really interesting channel for us to use for Google and for our search activity. So the reason why eClosure is such a good channel is because, and I'm sure that many of you have seen this, that when you look at your conversion data, and when you see now, this is the data side of me coming out. So when you're looking at your conversion data and when you're looking at your analytics to see what channels are top converting, 9 times out of 10, depends on your sector, it is going to be Google that is the top performing. And the reason for that is because when people are on Google, they are actively looking for your product. They are there, they're in the buyer's mindset. And eClosure gives us a new route to be able to reach those audiences, but also we can do it because, you know, as businesses, we all really care about our sustainable footprint and where our advertising money goes. It means that you can do it in a really sustainable way, but also you can be quite considerate about who your audiences are and how you can make sure that you're maybe on eClosure as opposed to Google, you're talking about some of your sustainability values, some of the things that you're doing for sustainability as well. We actually, so Louise had mentioned it earlier, our Marketing Heroes Wales this morning was with Dr. Organic, and they had some really lovely tips in terms of how they have put sustainability at the heart of their marketing. It's something that they're really proud of. It really forms the brand basis for them. And we also have marketing and sustainability guides. So if that is something that you're interested in and you're kind of unsure what you can do, unsure what steps you can take to make sure your marketing is more sustainable, get in touch and we can send over that guide. So eClosure, definitely recommend it. The audience is not as big as Google, so we'd always say as a rule of thumb, put 90% of your budget towards Google and 10% towards eClosure and Bing. So it's not huge, but it does give us a new route to market and helps us to make sure that we're maximising anybody that's actively searching for our products. So there's number 1, okay? Number 2 is gaming. Gaming is a channel that so many people, so many marketers seem really scared about and unsure about and not sure what they can do with it. So gaming is a really significant channel. We saw over COVID a significant boost in terms of the numbers that are actually using gaming. I think it's really interesting to see that gaming isn't just about young people. So often when we speak to people, they think, oh, gaming is just for like the youth market and for students and for young people. But actually, there's a really big market for older people and actually parents that are playing games with their children as well. So channels like Twitch are a really great way for us to reach audiences as and when they are on those gaming platforms. Okay, so gaming is a channel. that just do not be scared of it, test it, learn, see what you can do when gaming. Okay, innovation number 3 is, and again, another channel that often people are a little bit wary of, but a channel that has really started to grow in numbers and also has really pushed forward with their kind of brand safety metrics. And that is community channels. So in channels like Reddit, we've seen probably over the last 5 years a real shift across all media to be much more community focused. So to the point where Facebook, or Meta as we now call them, had changed their whole identity to make sure they were about connecting communities and building those relationships and building those connections. So we talk about social media as maybe not being as social anymore. It's much more about community and how we engage with our community. Reddit is a really interesting channel because people go to Reddit to get ideas, to hear from other users, to research products, to talk about your products, to research services. If you're able to tap into Reddit, so there is advertising on Reddit, it's really specific in terms of the channels and how you can target people and the types of people that you can target. It gives you a really nice place to make sure that you're seeding content into those places where people are talking about what is the best hotel in South Wales that I should be going to, those kinds of content. So it's a really nice community channel for advertising, but also if you're interested in understanding in real time what people are actually saying about you. So we do research and we get feedback, and we maybe ask for feedback through email, but often people will tell us what it is that they think that we should be hearing, because we're asking them and they don't want to say mean things most of the time. So that gives us an opportunity to really hear what people are actually saying about us, and you can then feed that back into your marketing, your communications, your strategy. It may be that people are unsure about a certain thing about your product or your service, and then you can then feed that into, well, how do I make sure I communicate that in the best way possible? Reddit's got 430 million active users, and actually what we're seeing now as well is this translation from Reddit is being talked about, and there's communities that are being built on Reddit, but also, I don't know about you, but for me certainly, I also then see Reddit being transferred over to Instagram, and whole Instagram channels being built around Reddit, and TikTok as well. So it's a channel that allows you to really engage with audiences across a number of different channels. And again, like I said, I think it's really important to take a look at the brand safety measures that they're putting into place. This is something that we have seen work really well for university clients. And obviously universities are clients who they have to be very conscious of their brand safety. They have to make sure they're put in the right places. They cannot be associated with anything that might be negative. But we're seeing really strong engagement across Reddit. So that was innovation number, I've lost count. I think it's 3, is that right, Louise?
Yes, 3. Yeah.
Okay, amazing, thank you. So innovation number 4, so something for you to consider. Innovation in a channel that does not need any introductions whatsoever. We all know about Netflix. We all probably use or have used Netflix in the past. It is a channel that has got massive scale, massive ability, but often for a lot of marketers has felt like it's just a channel that they can't tap into. There's obviously no ads, or has previously been no ads, and so it's felt like a channel that the audience is there, but you can't quite tap into it. That has now changed and is starting to change more and more. So as we probably will have all seen in the news, Netflix has had a couple of had a bit of a rocky road in 2023. It's been a tough time for the business. And what they've had to do is they've had to say, okay, well, we need to change our model. We need to make sure that we can get income generally from other places. So Netflix has now opened up subscriptions that have got advertising packages available. And that means that you as marketers can now advertise programmatically on Netflix. Now, I will say that it's still more expensive than your kind of Hulu's, your Amazons. However, it's not the same price as TV advertising. And because we're able to do it programmatically, you can do it based upon the budget that's right for you. And you're able to target people based upon their demographics, but also the kind of content that they're watching as well. So a really nice one, and a channel that we expect to see over the next couple of years to really take off as an advertising platform, as a content platform that brands are able to use much more. Perfect. So that is innovation number 4. And I couldn't do an innovation session without talking about the innovation of the year, which is AI and ChatGPT. So obviously a channel, an opportunity that has totally taken over all of our lives. We've all spent many, many hours on AI, and we've all been probably quite astounded by the opportunity that is there in AI. And I think it's really important for us, and actually this is something that Carly O'Donnell from Royal Mint had said as part of her session, is if you are not embracing technology, if you're not embracing new technologies and new innovations as a marketer, you are losing money. And I think that's definitely the case with AI and ChatGPT. However, it's really important for us as marketers that we don't lose the human touch of marketing. So marketing is very much about the connections that we make and how we have that emotional appeal to audiences and how we connect emotionally with our audiences. So it's really important that we use AI and we see this road of how AI can support us and already is supporting us with our marketing. But also it's really important for you to understand where you want to use AI as part of your marketing strategy. I think that we've all been in a position, maybe when we're scrolling through LinkedIn and you see content, you're like, that's definitely AI and hasn't really been written by that person, and they've not really put their own personal touch into it. And that's really important, is to make sure that you are using it in the right way, but also that you're remembering that AI doesn't have all of the insights that are up to date to now as well. So really making sure that you use AI in the right way. Okay, so I promise you 2 bonus suggestions, and these are channels that I thought, I can't really call them innovation channels because they've been around for so long now, or they are so mainstream, but they are changing, and there's new ways that we can adapt to these channels and new ways that we can be using these channels that maybe people haven't quite touched yet. So the first one is TikTok. TikTok, obviously, since 2020 or 2019, I think it was, the biggest success that we have seen in marketing and media in our generation. It's absolutely huge. They have really pushed forward. It's now the #1 channel for Gen Z. So a really important channel for us to be using in our marketing mix. But what I would say with TikTok is lots of brands have gone, okay, we've gone through that being scared of the channel phase, and now we're in a, okay, we definitely need it in our channel mix phase. And so hopefully you're in that position and you've got your TikTok set up. But it's very easy for us to think about TikTok as just a channel for videos and us kind of dressing up and dancing and singing and all that kind of stuff, which, by the way, I would never do. So you will not find me doing my silly dances on TikTok. But actually, it's becoming a much more multifaceted channel, and a channel that you as a brand, if you use it right, you can really win on that channel and get that cutting edge over your competitors. So there's 3 things for us to kind of mention here. #1 is TikTok Live. So like we're doing now, it's about people and showing behind the scenes and showing the people and being able to talk through your product, talk through your service. TikTok Live is a really great way to do that, but it's also a way that you can do it whilst involving your audiences. So especially for the new generation that's coming up, they don't expect to just be content consumers on channels. Actually, what they expect to be is they expect to be the content creators and co-creators, and they want to be part of your brand and part of your story and part of your content as well. So getting your audience involved in a TikTok Live is a really lovely way to build those connections and build that brand loyalty as well. And showcasing, doing Q&As, showcasing behind the scenes content. People love to see the small things, like what your office looks like and what you're doing and how you pack up your materials and what goes into hosting a wedding at a hotel and all of the kind of behind the scenes work. So do make sure you're using things like TikTok Live to build that engagement and build that community with your audiences. The second, and I feel like I've been talking about search a lot today, but we roll with it, and it's a really important part of our channel, TikTok search. So again, another way that you might think, oh, well, TikTok isn't a search channel. Actually, there's some really interesting research. It was US based, but still kind of holds for is that 51% of Generation Z women prefer to use TikTok to search for things rather than Google. So we're seeing a bit of a shift at the moment. And the reason why they're choosing TikTok to search for things is because the content is more tailored. It's video, which is what they kind of expect to see, and that's how they consume content nowadays. And they're looking for things like instructional videos, DIY tips, cooking recipes, fashion trends, and so many more things. So really starting to think about TikTok, not just as a video channel, but also as a channel that people are going to go to search for your products, your services, your offering, whatever it might be, and starting to embed SEO as part of your TikTok strategy as well. I will say we've got a TikTok growth guide down there, and there's some really nice tips in there about how to SEO your TikTok strategy. So if you do want that, then just drop myself or Louise a message. And then final idea for TikTok is TikTok Shop. So you can now buy products directly off TikTok. You can do it through live stream, you can do it through shoppable videos, you can do it through branded through the app. So it's all branded, you've got a shop within the TikTok app. And actually 2/3 of users have said they're likely to buy something while using TikTok. So it's a really important channel for us to think about and not to forget about not only the engagement you can get from TikTok, but also the conversions that you can get. So there's some really good channels that are pushing forward with that. Probably one of the best ones in the UK is a company called So Sweet based in Devon. I think they're a sweet shop. They have totally transformed their business by TikTok Shop and getting audiences to order through the app. So hopefully that's helpful and maybe kind of gives us a little bit of insight into the way that channels like TikTok are moving and helps us to think a little bit differently about them. And maybe for your 2024 strategy, you can think about how you can use TikTok in different ways. And then my final one then is WhatsApp. WhatsApp have had some major announcements this week, some really big announcements. And this is a channel that I find so often marketers maybe just forget about and don't realise that it's a channel that they can be using as part of their marketing strategy, because they look at it and they're like, okay, I'm on my WhatsApp. Obviously, we're all on our WhatsApp all the time, but I don't see any ads, so it can't be a channel that I can use for my strategy. But there are some really clever ways that you can use it. So number one, and this was an update that came out, I think it was this week, is WhatsApp channels. So you can now do broadcast channels where you're able to have basically a one-way conversation. So you're able to put out there in a one-way setting updates from your business, from your company that maybe people want to hear and want to join. Very similar to Instagram broadcast as well. So Meta are kind of copying what they do on all of the channels that they offer. But a really lovely way if, say, you are a big business and you've got kind of updates that you want to share with people, and people are always after what latest things are coming out, what new products you have. Maybe I think I saw tourism in Swansea, so maybe just sharing ideas for content that people would be interested in. Or if you've got a really long, complex conversion process, so UWTSD, you might want to use it to give people updates on when they should be applying, top tips on their application process, when their open days are, enrolment dates, all of the important information that we're kind of searching for online. If we can give that to people in bite-sized chunks on the WhatsApp channels, that is a really important channel for us and builds up those connections as well. Second, then we've got WhatsApp ads. So this is directing people straight from Instagram and Facebook ads to WhatsApp. We tend to find it works really well as a retargeting activity. So you don't want to have everybody messaging you, but from retargeting the people that are interested, getting them to convert and just kind of giving them that final reason or asking them like, what do you need as the next step is a really nice way to do that through WhatsApp ads. And then the final one is WhatsApp flows. So this is a very new feature. I think this literally came out yesterday. And WhatsApp flows is a new feature that allows you to do basically everything through WhatsApp. So it will allow your customers to buy products off WhatsApp, choose their train seat off WhatsApp, decide what food they would like if you're a restaurant through WhatsApp. So really seamless experience. And again, something to consider to help service your clients and do it in a way on a channel that they are using. So hopefully that's given you some nice food for thought in terms of new innovations or channels that you might not have thought about or been a little bit scared to use and how you can use them. But I would say you've also got to make sure that you implement them properly as well. So Lou, I'll hand over to you to talk about implementation.
Yeah, so there's lots of exciting and new ideas, and I think with every media there is, not every sector relates to a particular media, and we know that, like recently we were speaking to AU Vodka, and for them TikTok is, that is the prime place where their audience is. So it really is about finding and knowing where your audience is on what platform and what media, and how it implements into your process to purchase or process to visit, or whatever that conversion metric is. So I would say number one is don't get magpie syndrome. So really use the 80-20% rule when it comes to your budgeting. So making sure that you allocate 80% of your budget to what we call performance channels. So those are the channels that you know are reliable, they work for you now. If Facebook works for you, then that works. But sometimes to come away and look at new innovations and to get maximum impact, allocate 20% as a rule of thumb to your budget to make way for that experimenting and looking at new ways to attract new different audiences. Test and learn seems very obvious, but many of our clients sometimes really like recognizing, actually with a campaign you can turn it on, but because it's living and you can change the elements of it as you go along. The beauty with digital is that you can change. So the term A/B test, if you've got two different types of creative, implement that, and then you can see the results after a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and then then that you can invest more into one of the if it's a creative test or a language and speaking and communication test, then make sure that you're constantly testing and learning, and not testing too much either. So if it's creative you want to test, just keep it to that. If it's a channel, if you want to compare TikTok to Facebook, make sure that's just the test. Or if you're looking at different kinds of audiences, if you know there's your reliable audience that always converts, what other audiences are possible to maximize as well. So making sure that you really do test and learn. And one of the practices that we have is that when we run campaigns, we will always look at those campaigns on a weekly basis and making sure that we're constantly optimizing on a daily basis, but actually it's all recorded and we know what's happening on end of the week of when we're going into the next week for a campaign. So we're constantly optimizing that spend. And then the community and what we're doing right now is a really part of getting inspiration from experts, thinking what will work for you, that idea of coming away from a session like this, and even if there's only one piece of content or media that we've talked about and we think actually that could be something that could actually be really interesting for the company for us to look into, do explore it and ask. And there's always, we certainly have banks of case studies and experience with what we've done, and there's usually businesses that have done it before in certain situations. So it's always good to analyze what's happened before you embark on a new innovation channel and what you're going to be looking at, and get that inspiration, as there is nothing worse than just not having that inspiration to get going and looking at that blank piece of paper and needing ideas to get the ball rolling. So do draw on your communities. And if there is anything today that really has struck a chord, or you would like to know more, even if it's just more information on a strategy for this year and to 2024, if you want, there was one particular part of this presentation that you really found exciting and you wanted to know more about, whether it was TikTok search or WhatsApp's new features, do let us know, and we really do want to help and give you insights to make these decisions into your businesses. So thank you for coming today and signing up, everybody. It's been great to talk to you and share some of our ideas and thinking. And we do invite, if there's any questions, to ask away.
Great, thank you both for that. Really informative, lots to think about. Some of the areas I was kind of loosely aware of, some of them are certainly new or elements within elements that I sort of hadn't, I'd sort of considered WhatsApp to be a messaging platform, and I guess to this point it probably has been, but there's a whole world of things there. Just a very quick reference, you mentioned ChatGPT. The last session which we did of this Power Hour back in 2 or 3 months ago now, we did one specifically on ChatGPT. So if you're interested in that, I sort of refer you back to our YouTube channel where you can go and have a look at that. Just a question from me really, in terms of a couple of the platforms specifically, but it probably applies to all of them, about sort of tailorability, if that's a word. It is now anyway. The power of Facebook obviously is that Facebook knows everything about you and you can drill down to customers in a very specific way. Sort of picking up on a couple of the examples, Netflix in particular, to what extent is that ability to tailor your advertising? So, for example, do Netflix know what you like to watch and allow you to base your targeting around that sort of thing? So to what extent can you sort of dive in and target customers specifically using these new platforms?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's a really great question. And actually, it's something that we tend to find with innovation channels, especially when they're new channels. When they first start, the targeting options are a little bit broader. So obviously it's still wider than, or narrower than TV advertising. So the best comparison is with TV advertising. Actually with Netflix, we can target people based upon their location, we can target people based upon their age and their demographics, etc. But what we find is that over time, they become more and more specific. So we know that Netflix have got a lot on us in terms of our watching behaviours, because we see that in the algorithms and we see that everybody's got their own home screen. So they're building that data on us. Right now, it's not as targeted, so you couldn't be so specific in terms of exactly who you want to target. But what we'll find is that over time, they'll become much more targeted. So a great example of that is TikTok ads. When they first started, the geographic targeting was fairly broad, but actually you can be much more specific in terms of where you can target people.
Another one of sort of watch this space, and
absolutely,
it's a quickly changing world, I guess, as with a lot of these things at the moment.
Absolutely.
Which is where working with you guys comes in useful, I guess, because you're the
absolutely, yeah. And I was going to say, if you have any questions, or if you're kind of going through that process and like, okay, this is my specifics, as Louise said about the workshop, then if you've got any questions about how it works specifically for you, just let us know, just ask us, and we'll be there to help.
Great. Okay. We've got a couple of comments in the chat, which I'll pick up on. If you've got any questions, either put them in the chat or just raise your hand using the little hand icon at the top, and we'll come to you. So, question from Dave. Organisation that is looking to start using the channel like TikTok, conscious that we will start off with 0 followers, but how can we grow this quickly to do with the right audience?
That's a really great question. I would say I feel a little bit like I'm self-promoting here, but download the TikTok guide, because that is exactly what that covers off. So in there we've got I think it's about a 10-page plan of exactly what to do if you're starting off fresh, how you can build your audiences and how you can grow your followers. So I think the main thing to do is, number one, just make sure that you're putting out content and going really quite hard with your content as well. Sometimes we feel like maybe one post a week is okay on channels like LinkedIn. Actually, for a channel like TikTok, you have to be there, you have to be visible, and you have to be constantly putting out content. But it doesn't have to be hard. A lot of the content will be things that you already have. Engaging with your collaborators as well. So if it's the David that I think it is, David, I know that you have got a huge base of collaborators and influencers that you can use, and you've got a real specific niche that you can tap into. So find those niches. Quite often you'll have, and this one is a very random one, I don't know why it's popped into my head, but so for example, Shower Talk has got loads of followers, loads of engagement. So if you're a shower company, then you start using that hashtag Shower Talk and really making sure that you are into those communities. Collaborating with your audiences, doing things like lives as well to make sure that you're getting your content out there. And if you really want to, is using paid advertising just to help boost those numbers in the first instance, get your account to be a little bit more mature, and then you can rely a little bit more on the organic activity as well.
Great. Okay. A message from Jessie just asking you to share the PowerPoint so we can put you in touch afterwards on that and allow you to make that connection. I guess with TikTok there is part of it a little bit, this sounds a bit crude, but sort of trial and error in terms of seeing what flies and what doesn't, and building on the elements of that are really working.
Absolutely. And people do, I think, you know, it's all in our nature, especially because we're British, we want everything to be perfect and we never want to get anything wrong, and we want to make sure that everything is perfect all the time. But with your organic content, I think, what is the worst that will happen? Nothing bad is ever going to happen. Maybe you'll have a post that you put a little bit of time into, but you don't get as much engagement, or maybe you might have to say, oops, we got that a little bit wrong, and we'll do better next time. But actually, yeah, trial and error, testing things and knowing that the world won't end if you put out TikTok that maybe didn't quite hit the spot.
There we are. Anyone with any further questions before we move on? It doesn't look like we do. Just one final move, one from me on the gaming then, in terms of sort of how that was, that sort of with a focus with regard to mobile gaming in particular, because I know that sort of mobile gaming is an endless stream of ads when you engage with that, or is it sort of more general than that in terms of how you see that playing out?
Yeah, no, mobile gaming is interesting. We would actually probably steer a little bit away from mobile gaming ads, because quite often what tends to happen, and this was maybe a few years ago, what would happen is the ad is placed exactly where you need to put your thumb, or where you need to click onto the next thing, so you get lots of clicks, lots of engagement, but actually they're not the right people and they're not going to do anything. All they're going to do is click off straight away and be annoyed that they've been sent to a place. What we're talking around is kind of those desktop gaming, those channels that people are going to. So channels like Twitch is where people will go to stream games, to watch other people gaming, and having in-game advertising. So rather than it being a banner, which maybe people don't take notice of as much, having advertising in a similar way to you have on Spotify, where it is audio based with video on the side as well, is a really nice way to engage with people in that full experience, where we're kind of able to connect to them on lots of different levels, but also in a way that isn't too disruptive and we're not going to get false clicks from as well.
Okay, yeah, another one of those ones that's probably changing very quickly, and
yes,
a quickly evolving word. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Anything further, Louise, Jess, before we sign off?
Just thank you for signing up and coming along today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if anyone wants to connect with us, then we're all ears. That'd be brilliant.
Great, thank you all. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you at the next one.
Take care.
Everybody, bye-bye.
Bye.